absolute highlight was the testing, because investors want data, and the alternatives we had before, just to give you an idea, to test for a week was 100,000 Australian dollars. And you know, so it's still a big problem with the linear turbine for tidal. Is the overriding problem is there's nowhere to put it in the water. You know, you imagine an inventor, he's sort of working in his workshop or his shed, and he runs out and tests this thing. You know, okay, that didn't work, this didn't work, back in the shed, work on it for a few days, test it again. It's just not available and just not possible. And sadly, the sobering part for me, the point number 2, was that somebody that actually has a device that is prepared to build a small device and actually put it in the water. I was the only representative at the conference from Australia. So as all my research prior to the conference told me that there wasn't really much going on with tidal in Australia, even though there's plenty of resource for tidal. There wasn't much going on, and there wasn't an actual site where you can test. There's sites elsewhere in the world, but like I mentioned, you know, at this stage I'm self-funded. Having said that I'm self-funded wasn't that I was not offered money. But having been in manufacturing and having seen a lot of things in my time, I wasn't offered enough money. And it's not because I've been greedy, it's because I was being realistic. I don't want a failure. I don't want to waste investors' money. I'm not going to take investors' money. In fact, I sort of pride myself that I'm mature enough and wise enough not to take investors' money for something that's even got a smallest chance of failing. I don't want that. I don't want to be involved in that. So the other highlight of the conference is that I have made, when in hindsight now, I have made some good decisions. The decisions not to take the money I was offered was a good decision. I'm still in it. I still have the patents in 5 countries. I still have the patent in the USA and Canada, South Africa, Australia, and India. And I encourage anybody to contact me if you'd like to use the technology, because outside of those countries it's free to use. And even in those countries, you know, talk to me. I'd like to get something going, because, like I say, there isn't a lot going on. Now, I also watch internationally what's been happening, and you know, you have successful projects in Canada in their massive tidal resources in the Bay of Fundy. You know, there's a project there that's in a warehouse, that's parked in a warehouse that the government spent 29 million on, and it hit some roadblocks with environmental approval. Now, one of the other highlights of the conference is there's a couple of things that have been retired. There's an international body now that had a representative at the conference that have retired some of the environmental concerns. Fish strike has been retired, bird strike has been retired for wave and tidal energy. It doesn't mean they can't be raised, but they've been retired because the devices move very slowly. So those were sort of, you know, things investors used to bring up. So the sobering part is another, so there's that tidal project I was watching, and that has been in a warehouse for a long time, and I don't want to be that person. There's another one that the people do extremely good job of in Scotland, is Orbital Marine, but I don't see, you know, I was hoping to pitch my linear turbine as I've said before, as an alternative to the rotary sort of, you know, fan type turbine like you'd see on a jet aircraft or a normal propeller. But those people just weren't there. There were people that are possibly going to have a project in Australia, for Europeans that are going to deploy their device in Australia. So there was some action on the tidal energy, but most of the people there represented were representing wave energy, and there's much more opportunity in wave to actually deploy your equipment if it if and when you're ready to test it. So I'm just going to leave it there, and then I'll continue another video.